Throughout the years, I've been trying different music platforms for my videos like Musicbed, Epidemic Sound, and Artlist. I thought I would share some of my thoughts and experiences with each of these platforms, which ones I'm using today and why I am using them. I have no relationship or collab with any of these brands. Back when I first started making videos, I started using Epidemic Sound. I was making vlogs and I was just making cheerful content. Epidemic Sound used to be pretty expensive for client work, whilst now it is affordable. I also appreciate that with Epidemic Sound I get sound effects included in the subscription. Eventually, as I started working commercially, I saw limitations with Epidemic Sound. First of all, I did not find the UX, the user experience, very good, because whenever I was looking up something, trying to find a song for a specific project, I did not feel like my search really fit the result that I got. So I couldn't really find the exact soundtrack or vibe I was going for. There's one thing that had me unsubscribe from Epidemic Sound a couple of months back, and that is the fact that I had to clear my videos after making them. So whenever I was making a video for a commercial client, I had to send a link to them, having them clear the video after, or I would go into the link on YouTube or Facebook, wherever they posted this video, and clear it myself. I do not like having to deal with this after delivering, and I want my client to feel like the final delivery is the final delivery. I don't want them to have to work around it after. This is why I chose to use Artlist as my main provider for music when it comes to client work. With Artlist, I can choose from a lot of different music, and I feel like I'm getting the same things as I'm getting with Epidemic Sound. I feel like the sound effects are more specific, and it makes it easier to find, for instance, a commentator for a hockey game.
He's on fire now!
And it fits my videos better. So in that way, I feel like the sound effects are actually better with Artlist than with Epidemic Sound. The reason I prefer to use Artlist in my client work is because I have all the rights to the music. I don't have to clear it after. I don't have to have my client clear it. As soon as I downloaded the soundtrack, it's mine to use and it's for my client to use. It's so simple. When it comes to the user experience of Artlist, I would say it's very much like Epidemic Sound. I can't choose to go for piano, cinematic vibe, whatever, but I still don't feel like the search result is good enough compared to what I'm looking for. So that's something that I'm missing with Artlist, and I would say it's kind of the same as with Epidemic Sound. There's no difference there. Another thing that I would say Artlist is lacking is updating their library. It might be that they're actually updating it a lot, but still, when I go to the start homepage of Artlist, it says new behind a soundtrack, and it says new for a very, very long time. So when I'm seeing new, I expect it to actually be new, not the same new song that's been there for a couple of months already. So even though I prefer to use Artlist for my client work, Musicbed is my absolute favorite when it comes to music. With Musicbed, I'm getting the kind of music that I would listen to even when not making films. I will actually use some of Musicbed's playlists when I'm working out or if I'm just staying at home and need something nice to listen to. In my latest film, I was using some of the soundtracks from Musicbed's cinematic playlist on Spotify, and I've been listening to that for a very long time, and I decided to use those soundtracks long before I even started making the video. So I would say that the quality of the music that I get from Musicbed is so much better than any other. I started using Musicbed back in 2019 when I first started making videos, and already back then I loved the content they had. So with Musicbed, you don't get sound effects included, which is not a problem to me because I'm there for the music. But because my 1 month trial kind of ended, I did not extend that because it was much more pricey. So even though Musicbed has a much better search engine, like helping me find the right music easier and I get better music. I still don't use Musicbed for my client work. The reason I'm not using it is because it's expensive. And I'm not saying like it costs you a little bit, it will cost you a lot. Depending on what kind of clients you have, you will have to pay maybe half the budget of your client work if you're using Musicbed. Obviously that depends on the project, but the other day I was asking Musicbed how much would it be if I wanted to use this soundtrack in this video. It was a 1-minute video for a kind of a big company, but it was not a big project for them. They came back to me with an offer of $3,000, which obviously was way too much. That was not even within the budget of the whole production. And the same goes for a subscription. If I was to pay for a subscription with Musicbed that was covering all of my clients, I would have to pay so much. They offered me $2,000 for a subscription, but that wouldn't even cover my biggest clients. When I'm doing my passion projects, on the other hand, then I'm always using Musicbed. So everything on my YouTube channel the last couple of months and going forward will be Musicbed because that is my go-to. So depending on what kind of filmmaker you are, I would say Musicbed has the best music, but it will cost you a lot. So if you're working on a big project where the client is willing to pay you a lot for the music, go for Musicbed. That is the best. If you want to have less hassle with the rights of your soundtracks, use Artlist. It's totally worth it. If you want music just for your personal use, or you don't care if you have to clear the videos after, then Epidemic Sound might be an option for you. I chose to unsubscribe, it just didn't do it for me with client work. But who knows, maybe I'll be back one day. Good music is essential to your videos, so please consider what kind of music you're using and what provider you're using. Make sure you have the rights to use it and make it easy for yourself and your client. That's all for now. Remember that I have no collab whatsoever with any of these brands, so I'm very neutral in this. I'm like Sweden. See ya!